I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. Such a pleasure to speak to you both. Maybe you can just kick off with a brief introduction to Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I mean, not an easy one to kind of encapsulate in a sentence or two, but maybe you can give it a shot.
Yeah, it'll only take 5 minutes. Yeah, we like to summarize it as it's a story of a middle-aged woman trying to reconnect with her family in the chaos of modern life,
and also finish her taxes.
But it's a family drama that gets interrupted by a sci-fi action comedy that gets interrupted by a romance that gets interrupted by an absurdist comedy, and that is just a metaphor for what it feels like these days to kind of live in the internet age and be surrounded by so many distractions.
And obviously we were kind of introduced to this combination of the absurd and the profound in Swiss Army Man. But where did you get the first germ of an idea for this film, particularly kind of exploring the multiverse in a way we haven't sort of seen it maybe as much in that traditional superhero films, and why did you think this was a good follow-up to Swiss Army Man?
Yeah, I think it's I'm glad you bring up Swiss Army Man, because this movie was definitely a reaction to how that film went. Because with all of our work in our music videos, we're trying to combine the profane and the profound, the low and the high, and kind of try to prove to the world that they belong on equal footing. And with Swiss Army Man, we managed to do that for some people. Like, we were able to say, like, oh, you cried at a farting corpse movie. You can see now that there are no those arbitrary labels are useless. It's all life. Life is messy and weird like that. But for a lot of people, it didn't work. It wasn't. I feel like we failed them. We didn't prove our point. I'm so sorry, audience members. So this film was an attempt to like double down and say, we are going to prove it to all of those people. We're going to try to show people, look, it's life is messy. We don't have genres. It's not like you walk through life and be like, today it's going to be a comedy. It's like, no, you're going to be crying at this funniest shit. You're going to be at a funeral and laughing at the fact that your aunt farted or whatever. It's messy and weird. And this film was a response to the fact that we didn't succeed with Starman fully, and we wanted to do that here. And I'm so happy that people are connecting with it, because I think it's going to open up the way people look at movies from now on, and the way people make movies, hopefully, where like the idea of genre is so malleable, and it should be malleable. It should be kind of destroyed in some ways. But to answer your question of like the multiverse and all that, like three things happened. First, we're like, oh, this is a great action idea, a movie in which you can connect to another version of yourself in an alternate life and get all their abilities. Cool. That's like a very fun action thing. Then the next thing was, oh, we've always wanted to play with the genre and wanted to make a movie that had like 10 different types of movies all in one. This would be a really fun exercise in that. And then the last thing was, we realized that multiverse stories are so antithetical to narrative, because anytime a character makes a decision, the audience is thinking, oh, but all the other decisions exist as well. Nothing matters. And so we were like, what if we leaned into that and made a movie about the nihilism that comes from having multiple narratives being thrown at you constantly every day, in a barrage of sensory overload. So yeah, that was the core of it. That's those three things kind of exploded into this movie that we've now created.
And then we accidentally discovered that Dan had undiagnosed ADHD while writing a story about a Chinese immigrant family, and it became more and more personal to both of us as we went along, and so like we had these kind of spectacle driven sci-fi ideas, but it became an increasingly kind of personal exploration of generational communication errors and the immigrant experience, and that I think kept us inspired and curious for 5 years.
And, there's just so much going on in this film. On the one hand, it's just an amazing showcase for Michelle as your central actress. But, it's always, as you've mentioned, kind of the generational divides that we have. What's the internet doing to our brains? But it's hard. It also seems to be saying something about the fact that anything meaningless can also be made meaningful, whether you're two rocks or with the sausage fingers and all these kind of absurd things. So what do you think the takeaways are?
Yeah, I mean, I think
You said it great. Everything meaningless can also be meaningful. It's like, I like that.
totally. Yeah. I think like anyone who feels overwhelmed or a little hopeless, hopefully feels kind of seen, in this movie, and that like we kind of want to say like you're not alone, and there's nothing wrong with you for feeling that way. It's a lot, but also, give the audience a hug and say like there's something kind of beautiful in the chaos and the meaninglessness, because it allows you to kind of like, if you have closed-minded, rigid, dogmatic views of the world, that can keep you from love. And there's something kind of fun about giving yourself permission to just like let some of that go and just focus on the people you love, and that's the journey of the movie, is that like by caring less, you get to choose what to care about, and see the people you love that we're not seeing enough when we're freaked out about everything on the news.
Indeed. Well, I'm out of time, but it's been an absolute pleasure to speak to both of you, and I can't wait for everyone else to see this incredible film. Thanks so much. Cheers.
Yeah, nice to meet you. I like your wallpaper.
Oh, thank you. Mad as well and absurd. Thank you. Lovely to speak to you. Bye. Cheers.
Bye.